The world is full of toxic gases, super powerful matter, deadly weapons, and places you don't want to go. Some of these poisonous and dangerous things are also quite beautiful. Here are the most dangerous things in the world. A swath of the lower Mississippi Valley, known as Dixie Alley, has the most tornado-related deaths. This is due to a combination of factors. This area, too, is prone to violent thunderstorms. The region is full of large trees, which tornadoes can rip up from the ground and hurl into buildings and cars. Tornadoes can be destructive and are potentially deadly. Although all 50 states experience tornadoes, this region typically has a higher number each year. The term underwater waterfall is not accurate, but merely an illusion when photographed from the air. From sea level, there is no waterfall, but there is a continuous shifting of sand on the seafloor caused by two different tidal currents. The interesting fact is, this astonishing waterfall appears threatening. Many report that it is, only to learn it's an optical illusion. It is estimated that as little as half of death-cap mushrooms contain enough toxins to kill any human adult. The toxic contents cause liver and kidney failure that can be fatal. According to Harvard doctoral student Kat Adams, there is currently no adequate treatment for poisoning from death-cap mushrooms. Symptoms occur 6 to 24 hours after consuming it and include nausea, stomach cramps, vomiting, and diarrhea. Death can occur within 48 hours. Many people believe this scariest creature can literally walk around. This is because of its unusual root system. While most trees have one trunk, the palm splits into many smaller roots a few feet off the ground, giving it the appearance of many tiny legs. During respiration, oxygen is utilized and carbon dioxide is continuously produced. But during the day, carbon dioxide is used for photosynthesis. Based on this science, if you sleep under the walking tree at night, you'll suffocate. Jupiter does a great job of shepherding and absorbing small objects in the solar system. With Jupiter gone, the main effect on Earth would be an increase in the rate of impacts from asteroids and other space flotsam. Our planet is too small and would burn up in the atmosphere before that ever happens. This would have a huge impact on Jupiter, as the Earth's remains would completely mix into its atmosphere. So if you ever notice our planet going off course and heading towards Jupiter, you might want to jump off. This crater in Siberia was discovered in September 2020 and is not unique. Another 16 were found in the region between the Yamal and Gaida peninsulas. 7,000 underground gas bubbles are set to explode on the peninsulas of Yamal and Gaida as a result of melting permafrost. Siberia's permafrost melt is causing swamps and lakes, making land difficult to live on. The land affected becomes largely useless for agricultural and infrastructure. Around 2/3 of Russia is covered by permafrost, permanently frozen ground that never thaws, even during summers. Plutonium-238 is a special material that emits steady heat due to its natural radioactive decay. Several unique features of plutonium-238 have made it the material of choice to produce electrical power for more than 24 U.S. space missions. Plutonium-238 is highly radioactive, but its radiation is in alpha particles, which only travels very short distances and cannot penetrate human skin. If they are inhaled, though, they are very dangerous. Their radiation causes DNA damage in tissue, which then increases the risk of cancer. Like neutron stars, magnetars are the remnants of a supernova explosion. If you take into account the fact that we can't easily track magnetars, be scared. A magnetar in our solar system would wreak havoc on our planet, disrupting a lot of the natural order of things. In a magnetar that was only 100,000 miles away from the Earth, it would likely wipe out all the data in every credit card in the world. At about 1,000 miles from a magnetar, the force is extreme enough to warp the atoms in your body and tear you apart. In the wrong hands, samurai swords are dangerous weapons, but in battle, Japanese swordsmen would use the blade to end their enemies' attacks. A Japanese sword can chop a regular sword in half. Japan has a tough law that prevents homicide effectively, namely the Japanese Firearm and Sword Possession Control Act. According to this law, it is strictly prohibited to possess or carry any sword, even a fake replica, whose length is above 15 centimeters. Phew, huh? Hit the like button below the video. We will make your day. If the theory of the sun becoming a red giant were true, this is going to obliterate the inner planets. Mercury and Venus will likely be destroyed. With no sunlight, photosynthesis would stop, but that would only kill some of the plants. There are some large trees that can survive for decades without sunlight. Within a few days, however, the temperatures would begin to drop, and any humans left on Earth would die of hypothermia. Wild animals and plant life on Earth will also eventually die off if the sun explodes. The most dangerous spot in Brazil is a tiny island south of Sao Paulo. This place is so deadly that authorities do not allow anyone to set foot there. We're talking about Ilha de Queimada Grande, more commonly known as Snake Island. The golden lancehead snakes are said to be one of the most venomous, but since they only exist in the island, there are no fatality statistics unless someone volunteers. Some clams have developed the ability to eat wood that makes its way to the bottom of the ocean. Remarkably, these organisms are surprisingly diverse. They are also the only creatures, besides termites, that are known to digest wood. The wood-boring clams, known as shipworms, are a century-old scourge to shipping activities because they weaken wooden ships and pillings. This species of shipworm sources energy from hydrogen sulfide, commonly found in rotten eggs and human flatulence, which can be highly poisonous and corrosive in high amounts. This tidal wonder is found in the Naruto Strait, Japan. The current in the strait is the fastest in Japan, with the tide moving large amounts of water in and out of the inland sea. During a spring tide, the speed of the water reaches up to 20 kilometers per hour, which creates vortices up to 20 meters in diameter. Although the tidal currents can be strong, the boat doesn't rock as much as you'd think. When a volcano erupts, it emits gases, molten rock, ash, and particles of rock and glass. Volcanic ash hazards are far-reaching and disruptive, affecting more people, infrastructure, and daily activities than any other eruptive phenomena. Electrical discharges can form eye-catching shows during eruptions, but the fact is lightning can strike the ground to be a hazard of life. Most commonly, the lightning occurs between clouds and from the eruption column to the crater. That is therefore not a danger to humans as such circumstances. Two of the most populous nations, China and India, are building hundreds of dams in a violently active geologic zone. A collapse of Tiri Dam in the central Himalayas, which sits above a fault, would, for instance, release a wall of water about 200 meters high, slamming through 2 towns. In total, the flooding would affect 6 urban centers with a combined population of 2 million. If that were to happen during monsoon season, when the dams are full, the consequences could be catastrophic. Why would a meal be part of the most dangerous things? Well, there exist dangerous and toxic foods that many people insist on tasting. One of the most interesting is fugu. It is a Japanese plate prepared with blowfish meat. This venomous plate is one of the most deadly things in the world because it contains tetrodotoxin. This chemical causes decreased vital signs, general paralysis, and even death. Between 1996 and 2006, up to 44 fatal accidents occurred through blowfish poisoning, which makes this ocean creature one of the most dangerous things in the world. Chlorine trifluoride can affect you when breathed in. Contact with it can severely irritate and burn the eyes and skin, and may cause permanent eye damage. Breathing chlorine trifluoride can irritate the lungs, leading to coughing or shortness of breath. This colorless, poisonous, corrosive, and extremely reactive gas condenses to a pale greenish-yellow liquid, the form in which it is most often sold. The compound is primarily of interest as a component in rocket fuels, in plasma, less cleaning and etching operations in the semiconductor industry, in nuclear reactor fuel processing, and other industrial operations. We all know we should keep a distance from any deadly animals while walking in the jungle. But did you know about a tree that is considered more harmful than those dangerous animals? This bush excretes a toxic white sap through its leaves. It's known to severely irritate the skin, cause blisters, and can even block your airways if you inhale fumes from the sap. The tree produces a crabapple-like fruit called beech apples that is also poisonous. It normally appears as a hefty shrub, but can grow up to 50 feet tall, producing toxic timber that has long tempted Caribbean carpenters. Despite the danger, people have used the manchineel to make furniture for centuries. Ever sat on a wooden chair when you got up with pain in the backside? Could be manchineel wood. Talk to us. Venom from this dangerous animal is quite toxic. The male spider's venom contains a unique component called robustoxin that severely affects the nervous system of humans and monkeys, but not of other animals. Death can occur as quickly as 2 hours after a bite. People and other primates are extremely sensitive to funnel web venom, but intriguingly, other mammals such as mice, rabbits, guinea pigs, dogs, and cats are relatively immune and often survive 100 times the dose that is lethal to humans. Portuguese millipedes are part of the deadly animals, although they do not attack animals or humans. They can be a significant domestic nuisance, though, when they invade homes and gardens in their thousands. The Portuguese creatures are one of the few millipede species that are attracted to light at night, and this is presumably why they invade homes. Even if you are pissed at them, it is not advisable to handle millipedes with your bare hands. Did you think this slimy legless thing would bring down your house? Drop us a comment. Bombardier emissions range from slow secretions to rapid bursts, hot enough to burn and stain human skin. Their caustic defense irritate the eyes and respiratory system of predators, often inflicting painful but temporary incapacitation. One of the predators that bombardier beetles have to be on the lookout for are toads. Toads ambush their targets, easily catching and swallowing animals smaller than themselves, especially invertebrates like beetles. Bombardier beetles can be found on the continents of North America, South America, Europe, Africa, and Australia. This dangerous creature may be small, but it had to be included in the list of most dangerous animals in the world. This bizarre phenomenon, also known as globe lightning, usually appears during thunderstorms as a floating sphere that can range in color from blue to orange to yellow. It disappears within a few seconds. It is sometimes accompanied by a hissing sound and a choking odor. One early account reports on the Great Thunderstorm at the church in Widecombe in the Moor, England. On the 21st of October 1638, 4 people died and approximately 60 suffered injuries during a severe storm accompanied by ball lightning. Located in the southern Ural Mountains in eastern Russia, the lake was a dumping ground for the Soviet Union's nuclear weapons facilities. It was also hit by a string of accidents and disasters that left the surrounding areas highly contaminated with radioactive waste. Although the lake has an area much smaller than that of the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, and although 3 settlements some 7 kilometers away are inhabited, the lake is still technically a natural hazard. It has been described as the most polluted spot on Earth by the World Watch Institute. It's a jungle out there. You never know where the danger lurks, so check out these other threats. A reporter's job can be dangerous depending on the city and the work area. Usually, investigative journalism has a higher mortality rate. Journalism is part of the most dangerous things in the world to do since reporters get very close to violent, corrupt, and criminal individuals. War reporters face death every day, more so when the conflict is prolonged. Do you agree? Give us a like if you do. Some cities can also be part of the most dangerous things in the world. In this case, the capital of Venezuela has been classified in the last few years as one of the most dangerous in the world. Caracas has a rate of 134,360 homicides per million residents. Causes of the violence are mostly corruption in the judicial and police systems, as well as the growing poverty. Yungas Road is more commonly known as the Road of Death. Around 200 deaths are reported here per year. This may not sound alarming until you realize that the road is only 40 miles long and used by a handful of vehicles per day. There are 3,000-foot sheer drops off the side of this single-lane mountain nightmare without guardrails. But don't worry, the interesting fact is you won't be able to see the danger with all the rain and fog. Any mode of transportation has its own dangers. However, despite motorcycles representing only 1% of vehicles on the road, they account for 20% of road fatalities. That's 125 deaths per every billion miles traveled. Due to their two-wheel design, motorcycles are less stable than passenger vehicles. This makes them more challenging to control when braking and taking corners. The fact that motorbike riders and their passengers' bodies are exposed increases their chance of injury and death in cause of a collision. Walking is the second most dangerous form of transportation, so be careful out there. Selfie taking is an obsession too dangerous for teens to cope with. Yes, it is. Adding filters, adjusting contrast, including breathtaking scenery and lavish imagery feeds a psychological need, creating a temporary sense of fulfillment and causes others anxiety and depression. Many have fallen to their deaths while snapping the perfect selfie under dangerous conditions. Taking a selfie while standing on top of a building ledges, mountaintops, or while operating vehicles can put your life and others' at risk. Yes, technology also kills. The AI can be programmed to do something devastating. Autonomous weapons are artificial intelligence systems that are programmed to kill. In the hands of the wrong person, these weapons could easily cause mass casualties. Moreover, an AI arms race could inadvertently lead to an AI war that ultimately results in mass human casualties. From mass production factories to self-serve checkouts to self-driving cars, automation has been occurring for decades, and the process is accelerating dangerously. A Brookings Institute study found that 36 million jobs are at the risk of automation in the coming years. Do most ocean creatures freak you out and you just want to view them from, say, a bridge? Did you know there's a bridge that is more fearful than any dangerous ocean creatures? This must be the most unstable water crossing bridge ever. It is narrow, unsafe, and the fastest moving waters of the Vitim River in Siberia do not make it easier. The width is almost equal to the wheelbase of a car. The bridge is in a dreadful condition and requires strong nerves to navigate. Vitim River Bridge is a disused railroad crossing built in the early 1980s that is now used by vehicles and motorcycles. China Airlines has been deemed the deadliest airline of the last 30 years. According to the Bureau of Aircraft Archives, it is the 10th deadliest commercial airline ever. Of the airline's 8 fatal crashes, 2 were on Airbus 300-600s, another 2 occurring on Boeing 737-200s, and 2 others were on Boeing 747-200s. Interestingly, of all popular commercial airplanes, the Boeing 747-200 has one of the highest aircraft fatality ratios, with 5.1 deaths per aircraft built. In fact, each of the jet aircraft that were crashed in China Airlines has above-average fatality rates. In 1901, railway line engineers came upon this place, a mountainside known to the locals as the Condor's Eyrie. This section of the track is now named the Devil's Nose because of the many deaths among the workers there and the sheer difficulty of laying the tracks. It connects the Alausi and Simbambe stations of Ecuador. The Devil's Nose Railroad is the most impressive extension of the track that also considered Ecuador's most dangerous. The stretch of 12-kilometer track is seen overhanging sheer cliffs that drop hundreds of feet, winding turns with an incredibly steep incline. Hit the thumbs up button below the video to let us know what you like. This is the main airport on the Caribbean island of Saint Martin, or Sint Maarten. The History Channel's most extreme airport ranks Princess Juliana Airport as the 4th most dangerous in the world. It was named after Queen Juliana of Netherlands, who landed there when she was the heir presumptive in 1944, the year after the airport opened. It had very low altitude flyover landing approaches because one end of the runway is extremely close to the shore and Maho Beach. Action Park became famous and infamous in equally parts for its wildly underregulated and obviously dangerous rides. Over the course of its 18-year run, the park's rides caused countless injuries and at least 5 fatalities from drowning, head trauma, and electrocution. But for many, the danger and reckless freedom of the rides were the appeal of Action Park. According to reports, more than 100 people every summer left the park wounded. One of the first modern American water parks, it was open from 1978 until 1996. Visitors flocked Schlitterbahn Water Park in Kansas City to experience this thrill. That is, until August 7, 2016, when the raft that 10-year-old Caleb Schwab was riding in went airborne and hit a metal pole. The result was decapitation and instant death. According to park rules, a Vertuk rider, which means insane in German, had to be at least 4 feet 6 inches tall. Caleb was 4 feet 11 inches tall and weighed 72 pounds. That kind of raft is still a dangerous piece of equipment today because there are things that we don't know about it. Quite a sobering incident. Share your thoughts with us. The Ashima Ohashi Bridge is the largest rigid-frame bridge in Japan and the 3rd largest in the world. But that's not what makes it so spectacular. This bridge has an incredibly steep incline on both sides, making it appear more like a theme park ride than a way to commute across the river. It rises so sharply, giving the bravest drivers the freaks. The bridge also features a ridiculously steep slope that allows ships to pass underneath it. The 1-mile concrete road hurls drivers towards the sky, then suddenly drops them fast towards the water. This stomach-churning coaster can brag about being the world's first roller coaster to feature a true 90-degree drop. Gravity Max is a steel roller coaster built by Dutch manufacturer Vekoma, currently located in Lipao Land in Tishan, Taiwan. This unique coaster disassembles itself as it travels to its drop point and then reassembles itself by tilting the track back to connect the train to the remainder of the rider. Further cementing its status as one of the world's most dangerous roller coasters, there are even points in Gravity Max where the train is suspended perpendicular in the air. Elephant foot in Chernobyl. But first, do us a favor. Click that like button to inspire us. Subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell and you won't miss any interesting videos. Done then? Let's go. I'm not talking about the most dangerous animals, but a thing that was discovered in Chernobyl. Named Elephant Foot 4, it is stored in a maintenance corridor near the remains of reactor number 4. It remains an extremely radioactive object. However, its danger has decreased over time due to the decay of the radioactive components. The elephant's foot is so deadly that spending only 30 seconds near it will result in extreme dizziness and fatigue. 2 minutes near it and your cells will begin to hemorrhage. By the time you hit the 5-minute mark, you're a goner. Even after 30 years, the foot is still melting through the concrete base of the power plant. Due to the spread of the radiation of the surrounding area, flora and fauna are facing fatal disasters. Abnormal growth is observed in animals. Ribbon worm is one of them. They have a red, strange type of body, and it squirts out a white web-like substance called a proboscis. It contains mucus that has neurotoxins to paralyze its prey, and yet some of these worms are also found in Chernobyl. But we were not able to confirm the actual size of it. If you have any ideas, share in the comment section. It can make people's eyes burn and lead to difficulty while breathing. Pollution also increases the risk of lung cancer. Undoubtedly, air pollution is the most devastating worldwide with the highest mortality rate. An estimated 7 million deaths every year are linked to ambient air pollution, mainly manifested in heart disease, stroke, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, lung cancer, and respiratory infections like pneumonia. Most air pollution takes place due to the burning of fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and gasoline to produce energy for electricity or transportation. So which one did you find the most shocking? Did you want to add more dangerous things from your knowledge? Put them down in the comments box below. Like always, if you enjoyed it, be sure to give us a big thumbs up and leave us some love in the comments section. To keep up to date with all of our awesome videos, be sure to hit subscribe and turn your notifications on to never miss a thing. Until next time, do take care of yourself.